Windblade is a fictional character in the Transformers universes. She is one of the female Autobots in the Transformers, Generation 1 continuity family. KREO, Transformers, Windblade is an Autobot from the KREO continuity, a Kron version of the character listed below, who was actually introduced in fiction before the original. Like all non-toy robot Krons in these comics, Windblade is made from existing KREO parts. She uses the Mirage helmet, the Starscream wing pack and the curved blade first used by Insecticon and Rampage. KREO Online comic, Windblade was one of several Autobots under attack by Bruticus. Transformers, Generation 1, Windblade is the first fan-built bot ever the result of various polls on Hasbro's official website to determine most of her character and physical traits. She was officially revealed as a female Autobot at SDCC 2013. In addition to getting a toy, she'll also get a special IDW miniseries written by Mayor Ed Scott and illustrated by Sarah Stone. Scott did not give details on Windblade's backstory, but she did say that she has no intention of presenting her in any sort of stereotypical geisha or hand-over-her-mouth anime girl role. IDW Publishing, Windblade made her first comics appearance in Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye number 26, which was Chapter 8 of the Dark Cybertron event. Following that event, she was featured in a 4-issue miniseries, released from April–July 2014. This miniseries was notable for being first Transformers comic with an all-female creative team. Windblade is a young Transformer who puts duty and truth first, even when both are difficult. Her friend and bodyguard Chromia can get frustrated at times with the strength of Windblade's convictions, and Chromia believes Windblade trusts too much. This may not be a worldview that can survive sharing a planet with Starscream. Windblade is a better-than-average swordswoman, but her claim to fame is her rare talent for communicating with dormant Metrotitans, for which she bears the title of City Speaker. Like other City Speakers, her face bears the markings of Caminus. Windblade was a Transformer who hailed from the planet city of Caminus, and like the rest of her people she had adapted to have a gender, in her case female. Like her fellow inhabitants she had been cut off from Cybertron for millions of years, and her people have had to weigh every action they take. Her people's isolation ended with the arrival of Thunderclash, who had come seeking help from a City Speaker in order to aid Metroplex. The Autobot had been sent by Alpha Trion as the ancient bot was otherwise engaged. Windblade, her bodyguard Chromia, and Nautica joined Thunderclash aboard the Vis Vitalis. After some time they managed to run into Metroplex, and the three chose to station up inside him to keep him alive. Eventually, a team of Autobots from the Lost Light arrived and were able to give Metroplex a jump start from their ship, allowing them all to space bridge back to Cybertron, where a battle between its inhabitants and the Necrotitan was taking place. Windblade was surprised to see the other Titan, and asked the other Autobots if they knew Metroplex would have to fight one upon his arrival on Cybertron. Ultra Magnus did not, but suspected Metroplex did. For a moment they considered fleeing Metroplex while he was battling the Necrotitan, in order to remove themselves from danger, but since it was impossible to flee without abandoning some of their own, they remained until Metroplex himself was suddenly restored by Megatron returning his Regenesis or Laden Thumb to him, allowing him to defeat the Necrotitan. After the battle, Windblade spoke to Ultra Magnus on Metroplex's condition as he recovered. Although Windblade had not been able to learn much, she did know Metroplex had picked up the ore at some point, and jettisoned it and his thumb when he was attacked by Ammonites. Their discussion was soon interrupted, and Magnus was forced to leave. However, not long afterwards Ammonites began to swarm Cybertron, forcing Magnus to radio Windblade to ask Metroplex for aid. The Titan needed no encouragement, and began to fight the Horde. Upon all of the Ammonites being destroyed by Metalhawk, Windblade and her fellow Camians were called on by Mainframe to finish Monstructor's component parts off. Sometime after the battle, Windblade was present alongside Starscream and the Dinobot Sludge to greet Optimus Prime, who had returned to Cybertron for a personal errand. While with them, Optimus learned of a series of murders going on in the Decepticon ghetto. Windblade aided Optimus along with Starscream, the Dinobots, and the Decepticon barricade in investigating the deaths. The Fictions were early suspects, and were attacked by the group. Windblade was critical by the Autobots' quick reversion to the war, but she remained with the investigation. The group managed to uncover the true murderer, and Windblade later helped Optimus in his original task to return the Matrix of Leadership to the spot he had first received it so long ago. Windblade witnessed the trial of Megatron. Subsequently, she and Ironhide stayed behind on Cybertron under Starscream's leadership as the Lost Light and the Arc-7 departed. Optimus Prime warned her to be wary of Starscream. 6 months after the Battle of the Titans, Windblade had tried settling into life on Cybertron as it had settled into Metroplex. She had an important role as sitter-speaker to the heavily damaged Metroplex, though she was a novice at it, and Starscream, the planet's leader, grew impatient and suspicious of her. Rolling blackouts threatened the city, and after she investigated the cause of those with chromia, she also sought advice for how to best interact with Starscream. After talking with many of the denizens of Blur's Bar, she came to the sobering realization that Starscream was a scheming opportunist who shouldn't be trusted. Not long after this revelation, an explosion seriously damaged her and put her under medical care. Moments before the explosion, she'd seen Rattrap, Starscream's henchman, leaving the scene, and as she awoke from her medical bed, seeing Starscream approach her, she suspected Cybertron's leader had tried to kill her. After giving Windblade a veiled threat, Starscream and Rattrap departed. Windblade revealed to Chromia that she had found traces of explosives, before the bodyguard discovered reporters spying on them. Later the two of them met up with Ironhide, who they had sent to guard Metroplex's brain. Windblade searched Metroplex's brain for reasons why Starscream would cause the blackouts, when Chromia noticed that Waspinator had let slip in an interview that he knew something. Windblade was able to convince him to show her what he discovered despite his unwillingness to talk. A mine Starscream had built inside Metroplex, used to sift the Titan for the regenesis ore in his body. Windblade returned to the reporters and brought them and the denizens of Blur's Bar down there to reveal the mine to them. 3 of the Taraukans guarded the mine, and they were more than happy to try to take down Windblade and her friends. Though she fought back valiantly, at a moment of weakness Starscream and Rattrap interrupted the battle to arrest Windblade and the others for crimes against Cybertron. While the others were jailed, Windblade was interrogated violently by Rattrap. However, this interaction convinced her that while Starscream may be responsible for the mine, he was not responsible for the bomb that killed several citizens and nearly her. Then, Chromia and Skybite invaded the compound to free Windblade and the others, and Windblade confided in her friend that she had discovered that Starscream was not the culprit they were after, to Chromia's shock. Starscream and his goons were swiftly upon them, and the battle recommenced. Windblade and Chromia barely managed to duck inside Metroplex's brain room as Windblade attempted to hook up directly to Metroplex and solve everything. Merged mentally with Metroplex, finally she understood everything. She saw other Transformer colony worlds that had also broken off from Cybertron. She saw Caminus before he went lost. And, sadly, she saw Chromia in all her rage, and realized that her friend, her bodyguard, was the one who had placed the bombs in that street corner, that Chromia was willing to murder others to scare Windblade off the planet and to safety. Supremely disappointed in Chromia, Windblade nevertheless had to keep the peace for the greater good. She plotted with Starscream to keep things buried, so that there would be a Cybertron for those lost colonies to eventually return to. Windblade left the both of them, wiser, but compromised. Video games. Windblade is featured as part of Transformers Legends. Into the Abyss, Windblade and Nightbeat were dispatched from the Lost Light to explore a distant planet. There they met a group of Decepticons, and joined forces with them to battle their mutual foes, the Ammonites. Though several Ammonite attacks were thwarted by the Alliance, soon differing opinions caused infighting in the group. Eventually, both the Ammonites and the Decepticons were defeated, and the two Autobots returned to their spaceship. Toys, Generations Deluxe Windblade. Generations Windblade transforms from a female robot with face paint evocative of Japanese kabuki theater makeup, into a futuristic VTOL jet. She comes with a tornado blade accessory. See also, Female Autobots, references. External links, Windblade on Transformers Wiki.